Hello, everyone. Hello. It is Sunday, February 12th, 2023. And welcome to today's Dharma Talk Gene Key transmission. This is soul education for the awakened woman. Yeah, today is deep. It's Gene Key 49. And the shadow of reaction and the siddhi where we're ultimately going, rebirth through the pathway of revolution. This is a huge transmission today. So just welcoming everyone. I just wanted to presence that at the beginning, and let's let folks come on. Hello, hello, wherever you are. This is morning time in California. Let me know if you're here. Put a little emoji into the chat. How are you feeling today? Today is the Super Bowl in the United States, and I can't believe I just said that, because why do I care? But I think there's some things that are going to get woven in here. Good morning, Corey. Lovely to see you pop in here. Yeah, this is a big gene key, and I have to tell you, I'm feeling very tender and very emotional in a good way, in an expanded way. But I feel like I'm going to probably cry in this transmission. And I think that's going to be just perfect. So let's all co-create a field for this transmission to come through. Because this transmission is bigger than me. It's bigger than you. It is not about the individual. This gift and siddhi of 49 is about the collective. Welcome, Katie and Claire and Katie. So lovely to see you, sisters. So I'm going to start in a few minutes. You know, and yesterday I had some personal experiences as I was contemplating this. And this is kind of how it goes in contemplating the gene keys. Life brings you things, and I am able to connect the dots as life is bringing me things. And these teachings are multi-layered and vast. And so we get to, on Sunday mornings, my time, whatever time it is for you, connect some dots to see what it is that we're really up to in our awakening journey. So how many of you consider yourself revolutionaries? How many of you consider yourself a part of the awakened tribe who's committed to bringing in a rebirth of the new world? Just let me know by putting in the chat, yes, I'm here. Yes, that's me. I just want to suss out who's here. What is the listening that we have for this conversation? Because this is a collective conversation. Hell yeah. CJ, I'm here for that. Katie is a hell yes. Yeah, chances are, if you're listening to this, you have been drawn to your own awakening. And after that has had enough awakening, right? Like after you've gone through enough, after you've done enough work, really detoxing the wounds that you carry through your DNA, and you become less reactive, which is the shadow pattern here, then you become more available to the conversation of awakening for the planet. What's happening here? How is this rebirth going to happen? Claire Dash. Yeah, I always walked that edge of waking up and opening my eyes. Beautiful. And Katie, yes. Beautiful, sisters. All right, well, let's dive into this, because this conversation is for you. This conversation is for those of us who are aware that we are participating in one of the most incredible times on the planet. Let's just really take that in. You know, Cameron and I the other day were just talking about how, like, this is really happening. This is really happening. through us. Just looking back 3 years, we can see that life has changed immeasurably on so many subtle levels. And that's what's going to happen. So when we presence rebirth, we are really presencing the wiping away of the old and a clean slate. That's really hard for our minds to get a hold of, because everything we see and know will not survive the rebirth. That's a powerful statement. And Richard Rudd says it like this, and I really appreciate this, that the journey that the caterpillar makes into a butterfly, they look nothing alike. And so part of this rebirth is the death that's happening as we shed the old. And some of the old that we're shedding is stuff that we are fucking ready to shed. We are done. And so those ancestral wounds, those karmic patterns that are encoded and grooved into our soul and our psyche, that we have been, you can see generation after generation meeting out. That's the stuff that's coming up and out. And we are right on the precipice of that. So Gene Key 49 talks about first of all, let's talk about the shadow, our reactive patterns. As you begin to awaken, as you go on the spiritual path, you begin to confront your reactive patterns. You begin really with this statement that nothing is separately real. Those reactive patterns are inside your hologram, made up by you, conditioned by you and your family lineage and the collective shadow pattern, the collective conditioning. And you start to get hip to the game, right? You start to get hip to the matrix. And that's when your ability to work with those reactive patterns, because Gene Key 49 lives in the solar plexus, it's emotional patterns. It's when we get triggered. It's the same energy that humanity took on when it started to kill. Super interesting. So it's that us versus them. And most of the major religions are based on, at least in the dualistic framework, are based on us versus them. So anything that is about us versus them will not survive. And if you have been on the spiritual path, then you have been dealing with your own version of us versus them. And what this teaches us is that us versus them is really the way that we've drawn the circle. Think about this. The fear of rejection from the tribe, the fear of not being included, the fear of being alone and isolated is what has us draw a circle with us inside and someone else outside. That's the nature of the shadow frequency of reaction. We're cool, you're not. I'm on the inside. We talked about this last week. I'm on the inside, you're not on the inside. So here we have like these shadows, there's not a lot of newness to them. They just show up in different ways, but it's all the same when you get down to the bottom of it. It's this ego fear that we are separate, that we are alone, that we are isolated. And so we draw circles. And that's a fairly low worldview, to draw a circle in us and them. And dualistic religion has survived on that. So to the extent that there's going to be a revolution, it will be a revolution in consciousness that we get that there's nothing separately real, that there is no one over there, that everyone's inside the circle, that everyone is God, everyone is you. And we still have our individual templates. That's how we're playing this game. I love that there's so many comments Good morning, sisters. Yeah, that's exactly right. So we are so somebody was talking about 2027, and this is the mutation that's happening starting with 2012 and through 2027. We're in a mutation, and we're going to talk about that. So 49, I want you to just feel move your body a bit, just move your body in a circle, in a spiral, and just feel how this centrifuge gets created through movement. That is the whirlwind, the ring of whirlwind of the 49. So we're starting off in this slow ring, right? Like consciousness, this mutation process is slow. And we're getting faster and faster and faster as the whirlwind picks up speed. And how does it pick up speed? It picks up speed through you and me and our consciousness raised. As we do the inner work, as we dissolve those patterns, as we step out of reactivity, we become the revolutionary. The revolutionary is the one who can sort and sift. And the discernment that's required through sorting and sifting is to see what is mine and what is not mine. And that we've talked about in the last 2 weeks: codependency, empathy, the ways in which we can stay in our hearts and step into true sacrifice, which is true sacrifice in the gene keys, is the sacrifice of our codependency. And so those are the ninja tools that we are using to create more of this centrifugal force that is ultimately creating this whirlwind. And this whirlwind, there are people who will be left, who will spiral out of the whirlwind. And that's really what I came to yesterday. I was sitting with a person who has end stage liver disease. And, what do you say? It's kind of like what I presenced last week of when my friend's husband died, and what does empathy do? So I'm going to presence for you what happened in that exchange, not because it's right or wrong or good or bad. I think it's just important to this conversation. So that person is really important to me. And I've had a history with that person where I've received big gifts in my childhood from that person. So there's just a deep love. And I was sitting with that person. There was a huge shadow band over them. And the programming partner is gene key 4 of this intolerance, and also the gene key of individual awakening is gene key 55. And what's that? The shadow of victimization, of being a victim. That's one of the things that the reactionary pattern, as it leaves us, we are owning our own experience. So what I was hearing is a very deep victim pattern. And so I sat with that person. I was asking myself, how do I break through this pattern? What's mine to do? And it's like becoming that empty space. It's like becoming the clearing through which something bigger than me can flow through. So I sat in that room, and out of her mouth was something like, I really resent other people who have a life. And I got it. I get that. And so I said, well, there's no accident that you're here. You made a series of choices that got you here. That's not right, and that's not wrong, and that's not a judgment. That's just true. And if we can stand in that truth together, we can see our way out. And I said, I'm going to talk to a part of you right now who knows what I'm saying. Is that okay with you? She said, yes. And I said, there's only love. So choose to feed love inside of your heart right now. And I asked her, do you want to live? And she said, yes. And I said, okay, then this is very, very, very important. You must feed love. And the part of you that resents and the part of you that feels like everyone's abandoned you, you can just love that part. Oh, I hear you. I get that. And then you can come over to another, like that's over here. Then we can move over here and we can love. And so I walked her through a little bit of a process that was just very, very, very tiny little steps to see something. And it's not my responsibility if she sees it, but I found myself there in that situation. And so when I was contemplating the gene keys, Richard Rudd said something really important, and that is that not everyone's going to make it. And he said, that's just divine justice. And that's okay if not everyone makes it, because they'll have their time, another time. And that gave me so much peace that in this revolution, not everyone's going to make it. And at the same time, you know how we're running late for a flight? Like maybe you lost track of time, or your watch stopped, or you were on the wrong time zone and something clicked in and you realized, holy shit, my flight is taking off. And they hold the door open till the last minute. And you're running on that plane and you're the last one, and you get on and you're disoriented and you find your seat. And so we get to hold the door of the plane open for as long as possible until we have to shut it. And one of the things he said that spoke to me so deeply is that when we have to shut the door, we don't have to be sad. They will have their turn, and we can bow to them and bow to their soul's journey. It's not for them right now. And we hold that door open as long as possible because we are dealing, sisters, in the realm of the miraculous. When we look with our eyes right now and we see the world and we look at all the structures, I mean, I'm looking out right now at this beautiful landscape and these palm trees and the sunshine. And I can think to myself, how can this rebirth happen? I mean, how is all this going to die? And I can tune in to charismatic species across the globe are dying through human hands of poaching, through habitat loss, and through things like drought. They're dying. Things are changing. Every single vestige of the old DNA is dying. It's very hard for my mind to get around that. And so when I think about how is this rebirth going to happen, the linear mind, my linear mind, can't take it on. It can only see the end result of a freight train hitting a brick wall. But if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, there's something else to see and hear. How many people are awakening to their magical talents right now? How many people are so interested in 5D tools, experiences? Because rebirth is happening and it's not linear. The reason why we hold the door open until the last moment is because a miracle can happen in a flash. A soul can wake up in an instant. This is not causality, except that you matter and our actions matter. So it's a paradox. It's not causality, meaning that we can see linearly and logically how it's all going to happen, because we can't. We have to see with multidimensional, non-causal eyes to see the future that is rebirthing itself. Gaia is rebirthing herself. And one of the things I really loved that he presenced in the transmission of 49 is that there are magical beings who have been dormant, or perhaps our relationship to them has been dormant, who are willing and able and ready to do the work of Gaia, and are doing the work of Gaia, and our relationship with them gets to get strengthened. You know, the Mayan culture where I was just at, they have been praying to these devis, the water devis, the air devis, the land devis, the fire devis. They call them the Alush. And they've been praying and thanking them for centuries. Their eyes, the scales are off their eyes. You know, their ears have been awakened to hear that there are multidimensional support structures available and ready for when this whirlwind gathers more and more momentum. And those souls who are not ready, who can't hear, are a no to it, or whatever their destiny, I can't even know, but they're gone. And here we are, getting the job, like getting the assignment of waking up our tribal consciousness. And you remember a couple weeks ago, we talked about the tribe and how we have to leave the tribe. And this is Carolyn Mason, The Anatomy of the Spirit. The tribe is the root chakra. And when we start to evolve, we leave the tribe. And we go on our Shiro's journey. And then we come back to the tribe. And the tribe evolves slow. And Gene Key 49 knows this. They know when to be the change agent, when there's really like out of their reactionary patterns into their revolutionary patterns. There's an innate knowing of timing. There's an innate knowing that some things from the past get to survive and they get integrated, and some things have to wholesale die. Gene Key 49 is a sifter. It's discerning. It's a slow burn on culture that knows that there are steps that we get to take to awaken to our oneness. And then as that wheel turns and as it gets faster and faster, the awakening gets faster and faster. So this gate of the I Ching 49 is molting. It's that shedding to become this new entity, from the caterpillar to the butterfly. Let me just see if there's anything else I want to say here. So what's to come looks nothing like what has been. Let's just allow that to stir in our awareness. It really helped me frame a new view on all these charismatic species that are dying. And there's non-charismatic species that are dying. There's multiple species. Like we're in the 6th mass extinction. And I was thinking about that, and my heart has been so heavy around witnessing species loss. I'm on a lot of different mailing lists that I get this kind of information, and I have been like, God, how are we going to stop this train? And as I was contemplating 49, I started to see like we're in this with Gaia. She's a part of it. All beings are a part of this 49 rebirth, all of them. Let's see. So, I think I've said this before in the past when I've talked about attending in 2016, kind of a futurist event in my town. It was at the library in my town with 3 people who are part of this think tank. And one of them said, and this is a good moment to bring this back again, one of them said that in 25 years, the people in 25 years will have nothing in common with us. And he was really talking from a technological point of view, but he was saying that we right now have more in common with Stone Age man than we will have in common with someone 25 years. And some of us will still be on this planet in 25 years, goddess willing. That is also a really intense concept. So we must, when I think about it, we must be ready for this. We said yes to this. You're hearing this message. It's coming out of my mouth. And so there's something that we want to hear and see and know, to not be attached, to love with the deepest love. And when the time comes to let go, to not be attached of the way things are, to do enough of our work that we catch those reactionary patterns and we wake up inside them and know that there's something bigger happening. And we tune in with our subtle body, with our subtle ears, with our subtle eyes. And we wield magical powers through our state of being, through our frequency, through our consciousness. So I'm sitting in the hospital room, aware that this body mind, this ego body mind, has nothing to offer. Nothing to offer at all. The only thing that's of value in the moment when someone is on their deathbed is what? Presence. So I just emptied to be as present as possible, to bring forth the message that really my body mind did not want to say. Because who wants to be the one saying that? But I felt like I'm going to allow the words to come through. I'm going to allow the listener to hear what the listener needs to hear. I have no idea what it is. I'm going to allow it to land if it wants to land, because I'm going to hold that fucking plane door open. One more minute. That's what I'm committed to, because we are the space in which miracles happen. They're non-causal. I don't deserve them. It's not because I'm worthy or more worthy, or it's not because of anything. In fact, all that's over there in blah, blah, blah land. But I'm over here standing in a new possibility that who I am is the source of miracles. And every single one of you listening is the same. That's why we're here. That's why we're together. That's why we're speaking these words. Yeah. Thank you for this chat. I want to look at what everybody. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The wolves and the tigers. So many of them going. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So many of them going. And I'm really trusting, their Gaia. No one's left behind. No one is left behind. We are playing what Gene Key 49 says. The 55 is about your individual awakening. What 49 is saying is that we are one. We are a collective. That's why I don't need to be sad if that soul chooses not this time. It's a deep bow and an honor. It's a deep bow and an honor to play the game with you in this lifetime. And I know you are a soul and you are bigger than this. I really felt that in that hospital room. Like, I felt the magnitude and the magnanimity of her soul just squished into this body laying in a hospital bed. I get it. This is what you get to experience in form, but it's not who you are. And I told her, if you choose to pass, there's love on the other side. Because the thing is, there's no death. The game keeps going on and on. And we're held the entire time because there's only love. Took me a minute to get to that transmission. I felt like it's so deep. And really, if I really sit with that, I bawl my eyes out. We should all just get together and just fucking bawl for a minute, right? When he talks about the new world, I'm just going to end here. A couple more minutes. I'm going to read your chats. He really says, and this is something I'm going to take to heart. We get to lean into this rebirth. We get to lean into the revolution that we're creating that leads to this rebirth when we ultimately wake up to our oneness. That means for me, like, get on purpose, get on fire. Be the love that you know you are. Commit to it. And that doesn't mean you're perfect, because what does love do when it fucks up? Like, oh, I'm sorry, I just barfed all over you. That was just barf. Wow, okay. How can I restore this relationship? The 49 is interested in relationships. So be the love. Lean into this teaching. Be rigorous with yourself. Don't let a moment go by where you don't interrupt that drift, the shadow band. Interrupt it. Hold on a second. Sorry, wait, do over. Give yourself that forgiveness. Gene Key 4, the programming partner, forgiveness. That was one of the other things I said to her. Can you forgive yourself? Because once we face the reality of what we've created and how our thoughts and actions have got us right here, we get to bring in forgiveness, not holding anything, even letting that go, so that we can step into something new, so that we can really be the love. That's your assignment. When you go from here, that's your assignment. Be the space in which love happens. Don't worry about what you're getting. Don't worry about other people and if they're getting it. Just be the space in which love happens. Lean toward it, pull for it, commit to it. And thereby we influence, we cause and create through that this centrifugal force that's gaining momentum through our collective frequency to rise, to rebirth. And Gaia, the Alush, the Devis, they're all with us. We are not alone. We've never been alone. And that is the great secret. Tony Parsons calls it, he's a spiritual teacher, he calls it the open secret. The secret that's always been there, but you have to have eyes to see and ears to hear. So thank you for, oh my gosh, thank you for being here. Just scanning through your comments. Tell us about the magical beings. You tell us, Robin. You're on the land. You go talk to them. Where are they? Feel into them. Oh, your youngest child, Gene Key. Oh my gosh, she just turned 14. Wow. Yeah, isn't this incredible? So my cousin has this Gene Key in her life work, and I sent her this. I ran her profile and sent her just the four pieces of the activation sequence, and she was like, holy shit. And her deepest longing is to be of service. And so what happens when people read this is they get a pathway for their service. They get to see and sort through what is shadow banned, what have they been putting up with? And then they start to get more clean, more hygienic, because now they're seeing clearer as somebody is creating a context for seeing. It's not true. It's just a way of seeing the opposite. And now the mind goes like, oh, I got it. I knew my whole body wanted to be of service. I knew I was a revolutionary. I knew that I cared and loved about people so much. And now I have a place to put it. I love that. We're all creative, magical beings, powerful beyond measure, simply by living our gifts. Aho. All right, sisters, I'm going to pop off, and we're going to get on to the razor's edge in a few minutes. Let's just kind of conclude as we rub our hands together. Just taking everything that we have experienced here. This is really not knowing. This is awakening through remembering, in the words, creating a remembering. And let's beam out our hands to each other, surrounding ourselves with light all around the globe. These revolutionaries, these midwives of a new birth. And I just pray for the inner strength and fortitude to walk this path, for the compassion, for the compassion that we need to give ourselves, the forgiveness of ourselves, and the compassion to others who look like a hot mess right now. The compassion to the mental illness that's coming forward, that people are seeing and experiencing. We pray for you. We hold the door open for you. We are a stand for you. We are a stand for every single human being awakening whose time it is to see the nature of who and what they really are. We are a stand for that. So as we unite together, our hands blasted out all over the world right now. Let's gather all the positive energy we have generated and dedicated to the merits. May all beings benefit from the merits of our efforts. Namaste. Thank you, thank you. This week is a Gene Key intro. So for those of you who want to know what am I talking about in the Gene Keys, how do I start? Well, what's the context? Come join us inside the Evolving Sisters Network. We're doing a talk on Thursday. I think it's noon Pacific time. And in a few minutes, we're going to pop on the Razor's Edge, which is our community sharing circle. And we're just going to go deeper with this. I think some major openings have happened, and we get to go deeper. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. I see you, Lisa. Kata Yoon, beautiful. Thank you. Katie, Claudia, CJ, Alina's here too. Corey, Robin. I think it's Christy, Mindset Matters. Beautiful sisters. Loving you so much. Thank you.